and welcome to Bernama World. Today we're honoured to be joined by a towering figure in Malaysian journalism, Datuk Seri Wong CHUN, Chairman of Bernama, and also the newly conferred National Journalism Laureate. Now, with over 40 years in the industry, Datuk Seri has not only witnessed the evolution of the Malaysian media, but he's also played a key role in shaping it. Datuk Seri, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
And first and foremost, congratulations on being conferred and named the National Journalism Laureate. What was it like? Take us back to the moment. How did it feel to receive such a prestigious award and to be recognised after 4 decades of journalism in Malaysia?
Thank you so much. It was certainly a very humbling experience because I'm the 14th recipient of this award. It is not something that is given out every year. And that it started in 1988, and after more than 2 decades, I'm the 14th person. And for me to be among this very big legends, the late Tan Sri Samad Ismail, Pak Sako, I mean these are big names. They were not just journalists, they were advocates, they were fighters, they were nationalists. And I would say I felt very small because these are big figures, okay. But most importantly is that I felt very good because that this is an award that you have to be nominated by your fellow journalists, fellow media. They include rival media outlets, and that the judges comprise of my peers, which I really don't know who they are. I've heard names, but journalists are very bad in keeping secrets. But when it came to this, they were very secretive. Nobody told me. They don't want to. The judges, until now, I could only guess, and I did not receive any notification that you're going to get this award. So
there was no hearsay or sort of whispers in the background that made you think, oh, something's happening.
There were whispers, okay, because I got a WhatsApp message that says that, you better be there on the 20th. Okay, you must be there. And then another that says that you're going to buy us a big curry fish head. So there were little hints here and there, right. but still, like I'm very careful. For me, nothing is confirmed until you get a black and white. Absolutely. In this case, there was no black and white. So the suspense was even greater.
Lights and the stage and the award.
Okay. Even on the night itself, nobody told me specifically you're getting it. Mm-hmm. So there was a bit of a suspense, anticipation, but suspense. So, but most importantly, I think it was it's a pinnacle of my career. After 40 years in this business, to get this award, I'm really humble and I'm very honoured and certainly very privileged. And to receive this award while still as the chairman of Bernama is essentially a big double.
Big double. Yeah. Looking back at your journey so far, from your humble beginnings as a young reporter in Penang to now leading Malaysia's national news agency, Bernama, what has been, looking back, some of the most defining moments that has really helped to shape your journalistic, not just outlook, but values, your ethics around it? There must be so many, but what comes to mind?
I hate to disappoint you, but I really can't think of any defining moments. Mm-hmm. But there were many events that shaped my my journey. There were ups and downs. There were times when I was really frustrated. At times I felt that this is the way to go, but I've never given up. I started right at the bottom as a junior reporter. They call us cup reporter. Okay, this is 1984. I came out from university. I wanted to be a lawyer, actually, not as a journalist. I wanted to be a lawyer, and maybe I go into politics.
Right.
Okay. But I did not get a place at the law faculty. Instead, I got a place at the political science faculty, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Mm-hmm. And of course, a lot of people ask me that, what really does political science graduates? What do they do? Okay. It never came to my mind because I was already actively writing. As a student, I was writing for my school magazine. As a university student, I was writing for the campus newsletter, and even as a student in university, I was already writing for newspaper. So I joined the Star a day after I finished my final paper. I got a job very fast.
Wow.
Yeah. So I started covering everything: court reporting, police, ambulance chasing, everything. Really down. Okay.
Been there, done that.
Done that. There were no special privilege. Started from the bottom, but it was really good. Mm-hmm. And I carved out myself in certain areas which I thought would help me. I went to politics to write about it, so it was pretty good.
And this is what truly, as I've read a little bit about your background and as we are here speaking today, that makes you outstanding in that way is that you've really worked at not just your craft, but having this long-term vision and outlook to ensure that a story is told, but told after it's analysed and it's crafted so that it is not just informative, but it's helpful as well. What does this say about how the media landscape is changing? We heard this one line recently that social media is not journalism. And how does that, how do you view that from where you were to how things are today?
It's really a good question because I struggle with that too. I'm old school and I believe that I like to write analysis. I like to talk about why certain events take place. Like for example, we have this sales and services tax. Why does the government decided to broaden it? It is an unpopular decision. Nobody wants to pay tax. So it needs to be explained to the public. Well, the government has to do it because it's very simple. The government has run out of money. Malaysia is broke. Okay, it's hard for people to say it, but Malaysia is broke. It needs money. We have been living for 28 years with a deficit budget. Okay, and we are paying 16 ringgit of every 100 ringgit that the government earns to service these loans and debts. Okay, so we don't have money, so don't act that.
That's a bold statement.
Yes. But the public would not know. Okay, does not understand. Maybe nobody cares because nobody wants to pay tax. But it needs to be explained. And as a journalist, you yourself will want to know too. Okay, why would the government wants to make unpopular decision? There must be a reason. Okay, and beside that, security matters, economic matters. There must be a depth in it. But now more and more, young people do not have the patience and the time to read long articles. They want it short, simple, Instagrammable. It must be short and that people read the headlines and that's it. I worry about that because that have we come to a point where journalists are no longer able to write in depth or to explain in depth certain issues. So that's where my concern is. I don't believe that there's such a thing as citizen journalists. Okay,
right. We
spent our decades in university, in the newsroom, learning to be a journalist. You can, citizen journalists can be witnesses. Okay, okay, they can.
So they are witnesses.
Yeah.
But isn't it helpful though in terms of providing news at a very in a manner that is very timely, because people are with their cameras and they are capturing and they are sending information. There is this part, while we know there's fake news and misinformation, can't deny that there is this part that is helpful.
Yes, I agree 100%. Because the case of the boy who recorded the video of the Air India plane that crashes.
Right.
Thanks to him, we got that video. But that's about it. Because that comes to the point of why did the plane crash? What was the logistic issue, the aviation issue? Is where the real journalistics over.
So those are just a few here and there. You mentioned something earlier, and I want to go back to that, in which you called yourself old school. Does that mean that print media is on its way out? It's i.e. dead? And is old school really that bad? Because old school had, as the fourth estate, media had a big hold on how stories are shared and how news is shared as well.
I think that the sales of newspaper is declining so sharply that sometimes when I try to get a copy of a hard newspaper, I can't find it anymore. I go to the petrol stations, they don't have it anymore. Okay, but to me it's just platform. Okay, people will move on to other platforms online, the what they call it, the website. It's just a platform. The contents and the principles are still the same. It has to be accurate. What you write, you're responsible. For mainstream media, I don't call it newspaper. I call it mainstream media because almost all the newspapers have gone online. They have gone online. They have gone on podcasts. They have gone on all the social media. It's just that a lot of people seem to think that newspapers are not making money because people have gone online. That reporters are not making money either.
So there is this then a need to strike a balance between business and headlines that are very clickbaity, but also ensuring that what is put out is not just timely but accurate as well. What does this then in extension say for someone seasoned like you with your expertise and knowledge in terms of balancing free speech, media freedom, but for national interests? Is that is that something that, because younger writers perhaps may not have the bravery, if I could use that word. Because earlier you made a bold statement, you said the country has no money, for example. Many journalists may not come out rightly and say that. So how do we challenge that status quo as we're seeing now?
I think, as I said, that there are many ways to skin a cat.
True.
That's what journalists say, right? Okay?
Yes.
And what you say, you need to back it up. Okay. My concern is actually social media narrative, social media stories lack that sensitivity in dealing with race and religion in Malaysia. People seem to think that you can say anything you want. That's got nothing to do with freedom of the media. It's more with the consequences and the implications of what you said, okay? Because you're a media. Those of us in the mainstream media, we are held responsible for what we print and what we say. We understand the legal implication. We understand the sensitiveness of many things. So at the end of the day, people will still come back to us. They'll still go back to Bernama because Bernama is a trusted source, and we still go back. They may complain about you guys are too slow, it's boring, it's not interesting. But at the end of the day, you need to check. Somebody must be held responsible. If they read something, they'll ask, where do you read it? Bernama, The Star, the Newsroom Times, Berita Harian. There must be somebody. But with social media, you're not sure. Okay?
That's right.
Yeah, we're not even sure, and we're not even sure the comments that people respond, are they even real?
Oh, the comment section is a party of sorts that goes on with the
exactly
citizen journalists taking on.
Could it be one person with 1,000 accounts who has got a political agenda responding to that?
Could be. I want to move on to something that, of course, happened recently called Hawana. That's the National Journalist Day as well. A very big day here in Bernama. What stood out for you in this year's event, especially if someone now is representing institutional, ways forward in terms of progressive thinking, trying to do things to a more international and global level?
I think that the world has changed so much because of AI. We are sitting here while we are still grappling with how do we embrace AI, how much should we invest in technology, because that AI technology, they sort of like goes outdated very fast, and how much do you invest in it? While we're still debating, every forum that I've attended, they're still debating, should we be more careful, blah, blah, blah. I think another frightening thought is this. We all know that how AI is able to deliver a content in many languages. There have been awkward situation involving avatar, fake anchors, and so forth.
Right.
But it will improve. It will improve.
So it's work in progress.
So my biggest fear is this. What happens if a few years down the line, and then some news agencies in Washington, D.C. or China or Japan reporting Malaysian news using all the different languages from Japan or US? You'll be out of job, seriously. This is frightening, but it will come. Okay? So how prepared are we to face this situation and this possible scenario where the media from another country is reporting about Malaysia? It could be inaccurate, but it can happen.
It can happen.
So we have to be ready for all this, okay? So it is right for Hawana, which celebrates the journalists every year, to focus on AI. And that this year's celebration has been really fantastic because 1,000 over people attended it. And it was one of those big jobs that Bernama had to handle. And I must say that our team handled it very well. I could see that some of them suffer from lack of sleep, okay? I could see from the eyes, okay?
That's right.
They did a good job. Thank you, Team Bernama.
Thank you, Team Bernama. Indeed, it was very well organized, and it was for the whole nation to also see. Something that happened slightly before Hawana was the 46th ASEAN Summit that also kept all of us quite busy behind the scenes as well. What do you think was the biggest part in terms of what contributed to the success of the ASEAN Summit? How do you view it, and what would you like to say to overall, to the teams that not just work behind the scenes, but also to viewers?
One, for example, is that Malaysia as the chair of ASEAN, we had this big summit, but it's not over yet. The big one is coming in October. That's the big one, okay, with the dialogue partners. And not many people are aware. They see all these big events, but there are also many, many smaller ones that's ongoing at technical level, okay? And then I think there's something like 300 to 400 meetings that's been held, almost practically every day. And Bernama has been hosting the media in almost all of these media events, okay? And that it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work, and it has been successful in many ways thanks to the media, thanks to Bernama and every other media which has sent out these messages out to the world.
What does that say then about wanting to take this a notch higher so that we can position ourselves as the National News Agency to be a regional media hub, a focus point and a reference point?
Okay, one is that it is not, for me as a journalist, it's not good enough to just talk about Malaysia. You need to broadcast your views about Malaysia to a global audience, catered to a global audience, not just to a Malaysian audience, but catered to a global audience because the world has changed, okay? And that the voice of the global south needs to be amplified. As a result, we have actually signed up with TV BRICS on the MOU so that we could use their platform to channel our views to the world.
There's a TV BRICS and also Rosia Segotnya. Now, what are some of the goals of this? How do you envision this rollout, and what will it mean to the Malaysian audience as well?
One is that we will, it is a two-way thing. One is that we will get to follow news, read up news, watch visuals, watch video about the progress, the developments, tourism, way of life, culture, about the young from these member countries, and as well as the partner countries. And I think they will widen our perspective, widen our knowledge, while the BRICS members will get to learn more about Malaysia. So this is probably one of the biggest expansion that we have in terms of MOU with so many large number of countries that matter.
Countries that matter, right. So why is it important then for us to be sort of, you know, in good points with some of these countries, Russia, India, China, Brazil? Why? What does that do for our nation? One,
these are big countries with huge population, size that matters, and they have huge consumer market. We have been relying on traditional market for a long time, and that the world has changed into a very multipolar world. The experiences with the US, for example, goes to show that you cannot just rely on the US market. You need other markets that is growing with huge consumer that we can export our goods to increase our revenue. One of the reasons why the Prime Minister is traveling so much is simply because he's a salesman. He has got to sell Malaysia to the rest of the world that he's been going to, because we need to sell our things to a much bigger market. So BRICS is one of them. When you have Russia, when you have India, when you have Brazil, and you have the Arab countries, it's huge. Saudi Arabia is huge. Okay.
So as we talk about that and we look at you know, what is known also as the global south, Malaysia has an opportunity to stand firm and stand tall. Yeah. Where are we in this landscape of things? And from your lens, you know, as you said earlier, still have a long way to go. We really need to take it up a notch. When and how do we start this fine tuning? Because we have to not miss the boat in that aspect.
Not just miss the boat, don't rock the boat, because that we have to be firm and to reaffirm that we are not aligned. We are not taking sides. We are very careful with that we're not seen to be taking sides when the superpowers are fighting. And when you are trading nation, you are doing marketing and selling your goods to every country. Everyone's a customer. You want to keep your customers, broaden your customers, and not take sides. So as we join BRICS, as we talk about the global south, it is so important to remind everybody that we are not taking sides.
Well, you will be in Rio come July for the BRICS Media Summit. Do tell us a little bit about that and what we can expect from some of the things you may share there.
I think that this will be probably the first BRICS Summit where Malaysia has been invited in its capacity as a partner country, and I think that this is probably the first time where Malaysia has been invited to speak at the BRICS Media Summit. So in this case, Bernama, as a Bernama chairman, I've been invited to give my views in Rio de Janeiro. The forum is from the 14th to the 16th. It's a 3-day thing. So I hope to keep the Jalur Gemilang flying. I hope to make Malaysia proud hope to convey the sentiments and the views of Malaysia to BRICS as a media person, and of course to make Bernama proud.
Definitely, you've made us proud already so far, and continue to look at you as not just an example but also an icon. Sitting there right now with some of these awards, the big question is, what's next, Dato' Sri?
It's a good question. If I listen to my wife, she'll insist that I go travelling with her from now and stop all this journalism nonsense. But I tell everybody, journalists like old soldiers do not fade away. Do not fade away. We just continue writing. We must continue writing because it'll be a shame, given our experiences, given our training, given all the context that we have, that we do not utilize them. Stories, features must be explained in a very detailed and in a way that people understand, and that can only be done through proper research, through proper analysis, and thought of narrative. So I think all journalists have that. You'll be hearing from me for a long time.
Definitely, we look forward to it. Of course, you were still writing articles as well. How does that go for you? Are these thoughts that are coming to your mind? Do you note them down? Do you pick up the phone and call a friend or two somewhere in this department or that to get your scoping and your investigative reporting?
One is I'm a news junkie, 24/7. I can't stop. I look at my phone to find out what's happening around the world. I call up my friends in other parts of the world. I follow CNN, Al Jazeera, Bernama. I follow non-stop. I can't get I cannot get myself off all these news platforms to keep myself preoccupied and to be in line and in tune.
There's this term called TMI, too much info. Is that something that happens to you in terms of bombardment of too many things, especially as we see in the world? Unfortunately, we're reading about more bad things that are happening than things to celebrate about. So how do we work through that?
After 40 years, like most of us, like many of my peers, we are able to smell a fake news and a real one. So we are always the reference point. People send me and say, is this real or not? We are able to do that. So in many ways, I wouldn't say that I'm overburdened or drowned in information, but I need this information as a news junkie to keep my adrenaline flowing.
You said that you started writing from a very young age, but it never stopped there. It's always improvement, self-improvement, and it's also encouraged to be ambitious, that being ambitious is not wrong, it should not be frowned upon. Yeah. What can you impart for the rest to understand what it takes to be ambitious and to be brave again, to do that in this era where most of us hide behind a phone?
I would say that number one, you have got to have self-improvement, show that you're better than your other colleagues and why you are better, and to get the attention of your bosses. If your bosses do not know you, then you're in trouble. Okay, but do it by through your work. Okay, it's not through backstabbing.
Let your work speak for itself. I want to take you back to perhaps when you were 25 as that young reporter. If you could write a letter today to that person, what would you tell your younger self?
Write to who?
If you could speak to your younger self now, what are some of the things you would say from your journey so far?
To myself?
Yeah.
Okay, I say, dear Chun Wai, okay. Sometimes you have got to slow down, and that while it's good to have an ambition, that you set targets, to spend time for your family, which I regretted in many ways, because I think that there's always a price for everything, right? I have neglected my family. I have not spent enough time with my daughter, have not spent enough time with my wife. So to balance your professional life with your family, because at the end of the day, it'll be only your family who stick with you, not your bosses.
It's true. In that same breath, we want to thank you for being here, and thank you for all that you've done for the nation, and we continue to watch you as you rise higher. Well, that's a wrap for this hour's broadcast. We want to thank you for being with us. This has been The World right here on Bernama TV. I'm Jessie Chahal. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.